coming into Fonseca. It's a couple little like volcano islands up ahead and a really nice sunrise. It's a big gulf and it borders 3 countries. There's El Salvador, Honduras, and Nicaragua. And I think we're headed for one of the islands that belongs to El Salvador.
Oh, by the way, last night,
Yes.
Emily and I found an island that belongs to Nicaragua.
Yeah, it's a rock.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, that's like...
It can't be any bigger than a rock.
With a great breeze and the excitement of making landfall, Emily took a turn at the helm and sailed us into the entrance to the Gulf of Fonseca.
5.6. I think we're headed behind that Loch Nessie looking thing, the low humps.
As we came into the entrance to the Gulf, we were sad to find a variety of dead wildlife, several turtles, and even a pelican. While we can only speculate what may have killed these guys, there were 2 likely causes. One was plastic, which there was certainly a lot of floating around. Whether mistaken for food and ingested, or caught and wrapped around an animal, plastic can be very deadly. The other possibility was the fishing trawlers dragging nets offshore. Seafood caught in nets results in tons of bycatch. Huge percentages of what is caught at sea isn't what the fishermen are looking for. Instead, it's dolphins, turtles, and other animals that are caught and drowned. Either way, it was a sad reality to see, but served as an important reminder to be very conscious of our consumption choices.
We're entering the Gulf of Fonseca now. It borders 3 countries. On this side over here is El Salvador, Honduras is in the middle, and Nicaragua over on this side. And there's a few islands in here. This one here belongs to El Salvador, as does this one here. In the middle is that volcano-y looking island. That's part of Honduras. And Nicaragua doesn't have much. They've got a rock out there, and they've got their land. El Salvador.
Here we are.
We're here in El Salvador now. I want to say a huge thanks to everyone out there for supporting us, following along, leaving your comments. Appreciate it as always.
And a huge thanks to our patron, Adrift crew. Without you guys, these videos wouldn't be possible. So thanks very much. All right, we've arrived. We're here at Amapala, is that what it's called?
Punta Amapala.
Punta Amapala in El Salvador in the Gulf of Fonseca.
This is basically the northern point on the entrance to Gulf of Fonseca.
Yeah, and what did you say our stats were for the trip?
367.92 nautical miles, averaged 3.13 knots, and 4 days, 21 hours, 55 minutes.
And 14 hours of motoring when it was completely dead and we were too hot to drift. Not too bad.
Our winds were generally, we rarely had over 10 knots. We had only a few times. Mostly we were at about 5 knots, which was good. We had some spinnaker sails.
Really nice.
We had a bit of everything, really.
Calm, peaceful sails, one
Lightning.
storm.
Jellyfish things. You know, everything you could have.
Combination.
That's right.
Some swimming.
Dead things.
Yeah, good sail. And now we're here, El
Welcome to
Salvador.
El Salvador.
Somewhere new.
Notice that wind died this afternoon, like not long after we got in.
Yeah.
So should get something tonight though. It's a noisy afternoon here on Varuna. We got in, taking care of some errands now. Hillary's sewing us up a flag. We don't have a proper flag here for El Salvador, so we've got the Nicaraguan flag up that Hillary made.
Which is similar.
Similar
Same
colours,
different
the emblem's different, and the emblem's so faded you can't really notice. Plus we haven't seen any officials anywhere around here where we are right now. Got a bit of water going on down here we're making. We're kind of troubleshooting it. We've got a new motor on there. We'll talk more about that in the future. We're still trying to troubleshoot a few power issues that we're having with that. It's a very hot day. The wind died down, and I think Emily's upstairs. She had a bit of laundry going, went for a paddleboard. We're going to stay in this Gulf for a few more days, probably a number of days actually. We're going to head over to one of the islands tomorrow, I think.
Check it out. As the sun came up over the Gulf, we prepared to sail across the bay and make a proper landfall.
Alright, well, we're heading out of here. Punta Amapapa in El Salvador, and we're going to head on over to another spot. Hillary's finishing pulling up the anchor. We're going to sail over to that island there, we think. If we can get off, and I think it'll be light winds once we get out of here. As you can hear, we've got the motor running. We're going to have a little chat about that. We almost had a perfect start this morning. We were going to sail off anchor. We were set up beautifully for it. Right amount of wind. And then we think we hooked something on the anchor there. We got off it pretty easy, but we ended up starting up the motor so we could kind of motor forward over it and see if we could free it, which it did. Since we had the engine running and you want to let it run for a bit, get some load on it, let it cool down a bit and all. Got a good time, we might as well leave it run. And we'll motor sail out of here a bit just to charge the batteries mainly. Only a 10-mile sail on Isla, I have no idea, Conchaguita, I think is the name of the place. It's an El Salvadorian island, and that's where we're gonna probably spend a couple of days at least there. As you saw, Hillary's working on the video down below. Emily is up front. Let's see where she's at. Well, Emily and I were just hanging out up here, and then we spotted some, what we thought were dolphins, but now we're thinking they're pilot whales.
There's a lot.
There is a lot.
Loads.
Unfortunately, the water.
The water visibility is shocking.
You can really see a couple of inches below the water, so. Oh, there we go. I guess it's hard to tell here too, because it's big, right? Yeah. She confirms she thinks they're pilot whales.
I think so, yeah. They're very slow moving. They kind of have a big bulb on their head.
Very different than the dolphins we're normally seeing. And these are quite large too. So we have seen in here, most of the fishermen we've seen out here have nets they're putting down and pulling up. So I'd imagine that's probably not good for these guys. Have you noticed the one out here with the baby? There might even be a couple with it. I just saw one with a really small looking one out there. So what you're seeing back there was a green buoy that's marking the entrance channel for the port city of La Union, El Salvador. And it shows up on our chart as well as an ATON. And an ATON is, I don't know the technical abbreviation for it, but it's an electronic form of putting a physical marker on a map, or not even a physical marker possibly, using AIS. So AIS, which is the automatic identification system that ships use and that we've got on board as well, you can also use AIS to put a point somewhere that's not necessarily a physical location to mark a point, like whether it be a safe buoy or a wreckage or something like that. And in this case, they're using it on a physical buoy as well. What's good about that is it shows up on your charts through your AIS and it gives you the exact location of it. If it's a physical one, I'm guessing it's probably got a transmitter on it, would be my hope. maybe not. Sometimes they could be transmitted from a different location. But it is just another helpful thing with AIS to be able to pull it up. You can actually get the information on it. You can click on it, it tells you what it is, and it said it's a green buoy for El Salvador. So instead of having to rely so much on looking through the binoculars, trying to figure out what color buoy you're approaching, you have a good idea ahead of time of what side you should be passing on. Out here it doesn't bother us. We're just going to round it. We're just doing a few tacks to try and get up to our next location.
Morning.
This is how our days go when we try and sail somewhere in light winds.
It is very light winds in here today. I think we have a bit of a current that's kind of messing with us a bit. Tacked back and forth and just gone back and forth over the same kind of like arc of attack, trying to stay close to the wind, but I think maybe we're making a little bit of ground, it looks like anyways. We're getting closer to the island, so I guess that's a good thing. We have 2 flags up right now. Where we were the last few days, around this point in El Salvador, there's no real check-in, there's no real anything there. So we went ahead, we raised the El Salvador flag, and we also have the yellow flag up, which is the quarantine flag, saying we have not yet checked in. And get around the other side of the island here, we'll give a call to the port captain and see if anyone's around to check us in, and if we'll have to do that.
You called the other day, but nobody answered.
When we came into the bay, we gave a call. No one answered.
We've been unsuccessful in getting a hold of El Salvadorian authorities to try and do a check-in or something. Hillary's going to give them another call again now. We've got a bit better line of sight with the port, so Hill, take it away.
See if they answer. Capitanía del Puerto, Capitanía del Puerto, Capitanía del Puerto, La Unión, soy Valero Baruna, cambia. No?
This is where you mess with us, Emily, and you just start speaking Spanish back. Sí, desde Capitanía! What are your Spanish words? What do you speak Spanish?
Hola. Por favor. Gracias.
Cerveza?
Cerveja. That's beer, isn't it?
Yes.
Muy bien. ¿Cómo estás?
¿Cómo estás?
I think that's about the extent of it.
You have the
Good,
very captain stance right now.
Well,
Like, I'm waiting for you to be like...
concerned by the fact that we're heading
Oh,
straight
true, that's
toward
right.
the big ass cliff face. So
This is a good point. We are only about a mile off this island, so it's time to tack. So we just tacked. We were heading dead ahead for that there, which is the island we're heading to today. This is Isla Conchaguita, I believe it's pronounced. We're going to go up here between this pass, which could take us a while. We might have to tack backwards and forwards here. So this is an island of El Salvador. Over here we also have, I don't know the name of that one, I think it's Manguera or something, Isla Manguera, which is also an El Salvadorian island. And then over here is Isla Tigre, which is like a volcano, what is it, a volcano?
yeah.
So then between the two, it's a mound of dirt, an anthill. There's a volcano here, which also is, this is actually Honduran. And I think I was reading that all of these, well, most of this region was only decided in like 92 finally. There was always been disputes over who owned what.
Lush and green, these islands looked so vibrant and different than the desert islands we had spent so much time at in the Sea of Cortez. We were excited to drop the anchor and go check them out. Right, we're headed ashore at Conchaguita. That's where we're at, right?
Isla Conchaguita.
Isla Conchaguita. Getting its first real test, the new dinghy rode nicely, though it was certainly a bit heavier than Arjuna to carry up on the beach.
We're here.
Let's go check it out.
Isla Conchaguita is a small island, home to about 1,000 residents. We found a family home that sold snacks and cold drinks and chatted for a bit with one of the locals. He told us it was mostly a fishing village, and while the islands grow a few bananas and corn for local consumption, most things were brought in from the mainland, which was a short boat ride away with a motor.
Los dos, okay.
That's the same tree.
Walking along the beach, we admired their colorful boats, which are called launches here. We also met a few of the locals who were working on mending their fishing nets.
Putting the float in, is that cool?
Yeah.
Para fish.
Pescado, camarón, no?
Pescado, camarón.
As we wandered along the street, with chickens and other livestock roaming freely, it was almost like stepping back in time, giving us a glimpse of a much simpler lifestyle. However, the excess of trash and plastic on the beach quickly brought us back to reality.
I think I got the correct pronunciation of the place down. It's Isla Conchaguita. And this is the town of Conchaguita. There's only one town on this place, but nice street going up the hill with a really nice view back down. You probably can't see it out there, but there's ocean out there.
On the other side of town, on about the only flat piece of land on the island, was a huge soccer or football field, and a game was just getting underway. With the sun about to set, we got back in our new little dinghy and paddled back to Verona, enjoying the sights and sounds of island life and reflecting on being in a new place. Thank you so much for watching, and come join us next week as we explore more islands here in the Gulf of Fonseca. Until next time, adios.
Alright, let's have a little chat. Oh, your head just popped out.
Hello.
Hello. Is that the headless Hillary?
No.
Oh, well.
It's the bodyless.
The bodyless Hillary.